Hello, entrepreneurs, designers, digital nomads, and business gurus. Welcome to Circle Live, our internet talk show just for Squarespace Circle members. My name is Sarah Griesdorf. I'm one of the community managers on the Circle team. My co-host Sam isn't able to join us today, but he will be back for the next Circle Live, so don't worry. And of course, keeping good vibes in the chat is McKenna Parzik, our Circle Forum moderator. Last month, we talked about managing and monetizing your time. And this month, we're talking about creating businesses that are built to last. And we have a fantastic guest joining us today, who I'm super excited to introduce you to, although you may already know her. But first, I want to know in the chat, after you've told us where you're joining from, what is your favorite rom-com? Okay, I have a reason for asking, which I'll tell you in a second. But my favorite rom-com is Crazy Stupid Love. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend. It's got a great cast. It has Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore, Steve Carell, Emma Stone. It's just so much fun watching the plot come together, but I don't want to spoil it, so go watch it yourself. But yes, throw what your favorite rom-com is in the chat. We will be coming back to that. And I would love to see them. Okay, good. Yeah, McKenna's asked. Go ahead and throw your favorite rom-com in the chat. Okay, so keep those coming. We will also accept movies that aren't typically considered rom-coms as long as you can make the case for it being considered a rom-com. So we will be liberal on that. Okay, and I'll be on the lookout in the chat. Well, McKenna, our PA, plays a quick promo brought to you today by Squarespace Senior Product Manager, Linda Underwood. McKenna, take it away. Are folks able to hear that? Put that in the chat. I can't hear it. Are you sharing audio, McKenna? Oh, looks like people can't hear. McKenna, are you able to share audio?
Products. And hi, okay. Circle. I'm Linda, a product manager here at Squarespace. At last year's Circle Day, we introduced Squarespace's new custom merch feature, which allows you to create physical products and sell them on a Squarespace commerce plan. You spend so much time working on designs for your clients, running through logos, fonts, and colors until it's just right. After all that work, you can maximize the impact of your design by bringing it out into the real world. For no extra cost, custom merch helps you take any logo and turn it into a t-shirt, a hoodie, or hundreds of other products with photo mockups included. It's an easy way to diversify revenue streams this year. So if you want to see custom merch in action, I'm hosting a live demo next week, and I hope you can join us. Follow the link to sign up.
Yes, love it. And today's wardrobe is brought to you by Printful's Custom Merch. So if you want to look as cool as, I would say our team, but me looks today, that's achievable. If you also go and check out custom merch. And McKenna, yes, show off our hat, love it. The team is decked out today in custom merch, so definitely join the demo next week if you want to learn how to look this cool. McKenna, yes, if you haven't, definitely share the link to the demo in the chat. All right, so it looks like we had some good answers to the question about rom-coms, which I love to see. So many in here. Out of Sight. Let me just scroll up. 17 again, When Harry Met Sally. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I love the proposal. So good. Hitch. I love Hitch too. You Got Mail. Okay. There's a lot of good options in the chat and some good movie recommendations. Love our community. But we're not going to spend all of today's episode talking about rom-coms, but just to keep things light, we wanted to make the point that rom-coms allow you to see the full trajectory of a relationship. And sometimes a relationship can start out kind of rocky. Crazy Stupid Love literally started with a divorce. Not a spoiler. You learn that immediately. But the same is true in business, isn't it? It might be hard to start, but years into building a business that you absolutely love, you'll look back and see all the things you did intentionally or unintentionally that made it last and made it be successful over time. So rom-com, starting a business, same thing. I am Emma Stone, food for thought. Okay, so our guest today is someone who really loves her job and she's been doing it for a while. Becca Harpain Feel free to join us on camera. Becca is the owner of Inside the Square. She is an online course expert, and in her own words, she will help you design a website worth bragging about. Obsessed. Becca Harpain, welcome to Circle Live.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm so excited to be here. Hi, everyone.
Hey, we're so happy to have you. Becca, really quick, what is your favorite rom-com?
Oof. All right. When I first heard that question, my first thought was Terminator. Absolutely. I mean, it's a love story for the ages about like coming together for the best of humanity and the future, but I'm going to have to change my answer to Deadpool. Definitely Deadpool. That's just a really sweet love story.
So clearly there's many definitions of rom-com. And I love that because there's so many different ways to build a business as well. So it's just authentic. All right, Becca, I don't want to make any assumptions, but from the enthusiasm that you bring to every email, to the photos and content on your site, it seems like you love your job. Do you love your job?
I do. I absolutely love my job. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely some parts that are a little difficult, but I will say that for the most part, this is the best job I've ever had. And I absolutely adore what I do every single day.
Ugh, I love that. And like, what a gift, that to be able to say that. You're a self-taught web designer as well. When you started working on your own, did you always love it? What was it like at the beginning?
Oh my gosh. In the beginning, it was definitely that feast and famine cycle. I would get so excited about getting a new client and do all I could that all I could focus on was that project and not lining up another client. It was quite a few years of that struggle of being incredibly stoked about a new project and then incredibly scared about where the heck my next project was coming from. And that was definitely a struggle.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Looking back, what are some seeds that you planted back then that you think have like ultimately set you up for success and like got into a place where you love what you do?
I think one of the biggest ones would have to be like the question and discovery part. I feel like I often over delivered on my mockups and styles when it came to the website designs that I was doing. I'd come up with some cool idea, then I would show the client, hey, this is what we're going to do for your website. And then I had to figure out how to do it. And that was not always easy. That was digging around through the Squarespace forum a lot of the time and digging around through different websites to learn all I could about how to code the design that I just sold. So that question and discovery part, while it might have made my job a little tricky in the beginning, is definitely what I absolutely love about what I do now. That, okay, I think this is possible. How on earth do we make this happen? Part of my job.
Yeah, I love that. You talked a little bit about the forum. Can you speak to like the role that community played in helping you like grow your skills and get you to where you are now?
Oh, it's been absolutely huge. I would be nowhere here if it weren't for the Squarespace community. And it's part of what I love about this platform. And no, Squarespace did not pay me to say that. Anyone who's listening, like 100% true there. Part of the reason I started doing Inside the Square tutorials was I had some really great feedback on the forum when I got to help someone with a couple of codes. And I thought, wow, I can help more people if I just put this video that I made on YouTube. So I started just doing screen shares, just a quick, like, how to verify your site with Pinterest, how to change a button color on a hover, some really basic ones that I'd done that I wanted to teach people how to do. And the feedback that I got from the community was overwhelmingly positive, and it made me want to do more. Everybody was so excited to keep learning and excited to share with me some cool thing that they figured out how to do. That collaborative community aspect is what created my business. It wouldn't be here without that.
Wow. Yes. And we didn't even pay you to say that. That's amazing. We just love, a natural endorsement. Can you talk a little bit about that transition? If it like, and what it kind of looked like from like working on client sites to now like building, like the YouTube presence and the kind of tutorial presence that you have now?
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of a scary, interesting process. I never set out thinking that I would become a content creator. Like, true story, I'm still really nervous about being on video. Like, even right now, I'm like, only one cup of coffee today, keep the energy down. Like, I do still get nervous about this, even years in the making. But when I first started doing website designs and content, again, that feast and famine thing was really quite a struggle. And after the last big client project I had, my videos were starting to take off a little bit as well. So I thought to myself, okay, you've got enough in savings to last another 3 months here. What if you spend the next month just making all of this content so you post every single Tuesday? And I honestly gave myself the challenge of doing that for 3 months, just 3 months in a row, every Tuesday. That's 12 videos. That's not a lot. What if you put the effort in that? And it was incredible to watch how my business skyrocketed. I had one digital product that I sold. Those videos got so much attention and so many people wanted that product that I realized, okay, maybe I don't need another client right now. Maybe another couple of months of focusing on this could do it. And now it's been 4 years.
Wow. Yes. So I was in the chat and I agree. Such an inspiring story.
Thank you.
For someone that's like thinking about doing the same thing, what would be like your biggest piece of advice at that stage?
Biggest piece of advice is that consistency really is key. I remember hearing that from some of the other entrepreneurs that I'd followed online. And I think that is what really has helped my content stand apart from the crowd is that I'm there every single week. It's been every Tuesday for 4 years now. And I have a few more months of content planned. Like it's going to keep going as long as I can. And that consistency really does matter. And I think the other thing to be aware of too is that community aspect. People are going to give you feedback and it might not all be positive, but that doesn't mean it's not helpful. Like
Mm.
some people, you can't really understand someone's tone when you're just reading a comment. So if you take it negatively, that might not have been their intention. Sometimes that feedback, even if it isn't positive, is still helpful. So you've got to be open to getting feedback from your own community.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I imagine the same applies to client work as well, right? Like
Yes.
getting out that feedback from your client is so important too. Let me ask you one more question on this and we'll move on to our next topic. But obviously to create all the content that you do, you have to stay so up to date on the Squarespace platform. And
Mhm.
if you're not taking on the same like client load that you did before, how do you stay like up to date on what's happening in the Squarespace platform and stay so knowledgeable about it?
Well, I absolutely love the release tracker that you've created. I think that was only a couple of months ago that we had this latest version of it, and that helps a ton. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about my section divider video coming out tomorrow. Cannot even tell you how stoked I am that that's finally public. So that helps out a lot. But another thing that I love about being in Circle is that I get the ability to beta test these things before they're ready. So when a new feature comes out or a new design, I get to play with it a little bit and think about, okay, if I was going to use this on a client site, what would I want to do with this? And having that extra bit of time before it actually goes live gives me a chance to really plan and prepare the content. So when it is live, I know exactly what I'm going to share with people. So it's so much faster to create that video.
Mm, yeah, that's such good wisdom. And another really nice plug for engaging in our betas. If you didn't know, like a lot of products that come out, we give Circle members early access to make sure you know what is coming next before your clients do. So definitely stay engaged on the forum to know what is coming out next. Okay, cool. So whether or not you love it, although we know that you love it, the work that you do, it's clear that you put a lot of hard work into building up building up the inside the Square brand. How long did it take for you to feel like really in control of the business that you built?
Um, is 5 years from now an okay answer? Because I honestly never felt totally in control of it, but I kind of like it that way. Because I work for myself, I have the ability to be flexible and change up my plans. Like I had the ability to change the business model completely, to change the content that I'm talking about. A great example, AI is just everywhere right now. So I decided next week I'm going to be going live on YouTube to build a Squarespace website using entirely AI. I'm going to have it generate the color palettes and the font styles and the layouts and the content and some optimized blog posts. Like I'm really excited to do that live. And was that part of my 2023 plan when I mapped it out last year? Absolutely not. It was not in there at all. But I kind of feel like I have control in the sense that I'm steering the ship. But as far as actual control about what's going on in my business, I don't think I'm ever going to have that completely.
Wow, that sounds like an incredible workshop. Did we already get the link to that? Wow, okay, it kind of moves fast. We already have the link to that. I'm definitely gonna tune into that. That is absolutely incredible. And love that you're just like also like taking your audience along with you on that journey.
Uh,
I think that's like so authentic. I love that. What were some of the elements when you were building inside the Square that felt like most out of your control?
I would think while building as well as honestly still right now to this day is the growth. And I don't mean for that to sound braggy in any way. I mean that in the sense that I like to connect with people one on one and genuinely help people with things. But I've reached the saturation point where my inbox is so full. I get over 20 emails a day and over 30 comments a day on my videos because I've got about 300 videos out now. So it has reached the point where I just can't help everyone that needs help. Now, I do make a point to answer at least 10 people every single day. And that's honestly like how I can go to bed at the end of the night is I know I helped at least 10 people. Even if I wasn't able to get all of them, those 10 people, I made a difference in their lives and their website that day. And that makes me feel better about what I'm doing. But the amount of people that need that hands-on support and assistance, I don't know how to duplicate enough of myself for that and how to really help everybody all at once. It's one of the trickiest parts about customizing is we all have so many amazing, unique things that we want to do. And doing that one super special, super particular thing needs a lot more attention or detail than just a blanket tutorial like most of the content that I have out there. So
Yeah.
that's definitely the part that I really feel is out of my control is how many people I'm able to help. I wish it were more. Yeah.
Love your heart for that. And feels like another natural place though to plug the forum, right? And I think,
Mhm.
I'm sure we feel the same way on the Squarespace team of like, we want to help every single circle member. Like, I'm like, I want to sit there and build your site with you. Like, I just want you to
Right.
be like as successful as possible, But I think the forum is such a great place because folks like you with your level of expertise, Becca, are there. And we're kind of so funny. Did someone say forum? Hey girl. Like there, to help you. And like I basically never see a question on the forum that goes unanswered. So we just have such a rich community of folks who are like there, like, yes, let's like get that site to the finish line, and so I love that like you're kind of providing that on like a content level. And then like our community is around you and like helping folks who need that as well in the forum. So if you're not posting your questions on the forum, you're missing out.
You should do it. Yeah, I was actually in there this morning, side note.
No, see, and
Yeah.
Becca's there, so I just like don't see why you wouldn't be. What were some things that felt like most in control? Like, what were something that like you mastered? And this would be like a good time, like for a brag, if you're interested in inserting one.
Oof. Most in my control is definitely the content that I am publishing. I love that I have control over the tricks that I'm teaching people how to do. One thing that I will never do a tutorial about, no matter how many people ask for it, is a custom cursor because I don't like custom cursors. I think that's bad for ADA compliance. I don't think you need to have an animated cat GIF when someone's on your website. It's just not my style. And I don't have to teach people how to do it. Can I? Yes. Will I? Absolutely not. So I love that the actual content that I create is in my control. And part of that too is that I get to inspire people with things that they might not have thought of before. One of my tutorials that I'm coming out with next week is actually 3 different testimonial sliders using a couple of different features built into Squarespace that people might not have considered for a testimonial slider. So I'm kind of stoked to share that perspective on it. I definitely love having control over the content itself.
Yeah, I love that. And I also feel like you choose to push out things that are like authentic to you. Something like we are trying to help circle members learn all the time is like the power of niching down and like deciding like what is your specific area of expertise going to be. And we've talked to so many circle members who are like, oh, I build sites for like women-owned small businesses, or I build sites for restaurants. Like, you don't have to build a site for everybody. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to create content for everybody. Like, you are in the driver's seat. Like, that is in your control, what you choose to push out, what clients you choose to take on. And it sounds like that's been like really empowering for you.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, if I had niched down back when I was a website designer, I might still be a website designer, but I wanted to build for anybody and everybody. So I undersold my skills and it was just a super stressful job for me. But niching down is definitely where it's at. And I do want to add to that, like CSS is a universal code language. You can use it for WordPress, you can use it for Shopify, you can use it for everything. But I focus on Squarespace because I love using Squarespace and I love our Squarespace community. So the fact that I get to choose that for my content, that's another thing in my control that I absolutely love.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen, and I'll just be transparent. The circle members that pick a specific niche are often much more successful on our platform, for a variety of reasons. But when you pick something to be good at, like you're just seeking to go find those kinds of clients. And I think people know, Becca, when they come to you, what they can find, and that makes you reliable, and that makes you like a go-to source. So I think that's like so powerful. Speaking of that, one thing we know that also works is like diversifying revenue streams. Can you share a few of your revenue streams and how they've changed over time, how you kind of thought about that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of my favorite topics. Like, seriously, even my friends without business, they're like really tired of hearing me talk about this because I'm always encouraging everyone. It's like, well, just make a PDF. But I do have multiple revenue streams. And one of them I kind of stumbled into by accident last year, which is really exciting. My two main revenue streams have been creating my CSS cheat sheet. It is started out as like a 30-page PDF. It's now literally like 130 pages of all of the selectors you can use in Squarespace, along with like some pro tips and other custom codes. So my CSS cheat sheet was my main source of revenue for like 2 years. And then I created Custom Code Academy, which is where I teach everyone, or where I teach everything that I know about creating CSS. It's got a course, it's got snippets, it's got workshops, all that fun stuff. And then my workshops, that was the new one that I introduced last year. I had no idea how many people in my audience wanted to learn more just about using Squarespace, not necessarily about customizing it. So I did a workshop on campaigns, on analytics, on member areas. And my most popular one was about SEO. Like the day I published that workshop, I had over 100 people sign up immediately. Like so many people wanted to get into that. So that was the new revenue stream that I'm kind of focusing on a bit more this year. I'm trying to do one workshop a month this year. So we'll see how that goes. But it is so wonderful to have those different revenue streams so I can feel supported in many different ways.
Yeah. And I love how like adaptable you also are to, various like changing circumstances, like what people need. You're like, oh, you have a need. I can probably meet that in a way that again is just like true to who you are and like what your skills and talents are. And I love just like the consistency that you have between like the kind of content that you teach on YouTube, the resources you have available, like the workshops as the deep dive, like such like a through line between all of
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, it's just so awesome to be able to connect with those Squarespacers and support them in everything that they need. Yeah, it's been really fun.
That's awesome. What about like passion projects? What do you
Mhm.
do? Like how do you kind of split your time between something that's like exploratory that you think you'd be interested in, and then the like those things we just talked about that are actually making you money?
Oof, that's a good question. So I actually, although I don't technically work with clients one-on-one anymore, I do take on one pro bono client every quarter. And that pro bono client is a nonprofit or a charity that I like to support, and I'll help them either build a website or optimize the website that they're working with. So that gives me a chance to still be used to using the platform. Like I'm not just creating content about it, I'm in there, I'm using it alongside other Squarespacers. So that part I think is really important. But I will say that again, is one of the lucky things about my job is that I get to explore and ask that. I wonder if we can pull this off. How would I make that look in Squarespace? So when I start getting burnt out about writing another Instagram post or optimizing another blog post for a specific keyword, I can kind of step aside and look at some neat designs on Dribbble or find some website on Pinterest or Instagram and think, okay, this looks really cool. What would I use in Squarespace to make this happen? And I get to be creative again for a little bit.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, I love going to Dribbble or the awards website with the three dollars
Yeah.
and being like, okay, what are people doing? Like, what is trendy on the internet right now? Whenever you're feeling, or maybe you never feel this way, but whenever you're feeling like a little burnt out or like overwhelmed with everything you have to do, how do you kind of like get back in the game? What is that like? Do you have any like rituals?
That's a good question, because burnout is real. That happens a lot, especially when I like have to be on camera and bring up that personality and be as bubbly as I want to be. I'll get so excited that I can burn out from that pretty easily. But luckily, I live in the Pacific Northwest and I'm surrounded by like hiking trails, and I'm also an avid road cyclist as well. So although I can't get out too often with the weather that we're having right now, most of the time I will get a point to step outside. Like I like to be a trail runner. And again, the long distance cycling is like a really big thing for me. So luckily with my job, if I'm starting to feel burnt out, I'll give myself an afternoon off and I will just not look at a screen. I will look at trees. I will go for a hike. I will be outside in the fresh air doing what I can to not be focusing on digital things. And I will say that makes a huge difference in the quality of my work, because it really gives me a chance to have a different perspective. Whereas if I was just staring at a computer and seeing what other people are doing and comparing my own designs to the new trends out there, if that was all I did all the time, I definitely would have been burnt out a lot faster. So
Yeah.
taking a step away from a screen is definitely my ritual. Just got to go outside for a little bit.
Ugh, yes, screen detox, so necessary.
Mhm.
And I love that you have access to all of that nature. I live in
Oh,
New
me too. So
York.
lucky.
I don't think I see like a single tree on my commute to work, but Central Park, literally like keeping all New Yorkers alive.
There you go.
Let's ask this last question and then we'll transition. But what is like something that excites you most about like the next 5 years of your business? Like, where do you see it going? What are you excited about? We've spent today talking about building a business that's like sustainable, built to last. Like, now that you've laid this foundation, like, what are you most excited about?
Oh man, that is such a good question. I think I'm most excited about the technological advancements and developments. I know that we're seeing different types of screens and different ways of interacting with things online. And I'm really excited to see how Squarespace like goes with the flow on that. Fluid engine pun, thank you very much. But I'm very excited to see how Squarespace handles newer technology, what some of the new features are that are available. Like one of my favorite things about the fact that I barely went to college, did not study website design in college, is everything I would have learned back then. I don't know if it'd be applicable now. Browsers are different, development platforms are different, there are new programs out there. We're just constantly learning. So I'm just excited to see where Squarespace takes things and how I can be along for the ride. And I'm also really excited about the opportunity to connect with people even more. This whole workshop thing has been really awesome. And hopefully we can do quite a few more of those in the future, maybe even one in person someday. Who knows? But I'm excited that I have this new opportunity to connect with the community on a much closer level than just you watching my videos.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited about those things for us, those things for you. That is so amazing. And I just a little plug for what you just said about connecting with people. If you've learned something new today or something that Becca said like sparked something for you, would love you to go and share that on like LinkedIn or where you're on social media. Tag Becca, you can tag me. I'm Sarah Graysdorf everywhere. Would just love to like see you like get the word out there. And I think Becca's talked so much today about the power of just like creating content, like getting it out there and just starting somewhere. So maybe today's your day. Like just publish something about what you learned today. Tag Circle, squarespace.com/circle. Send people here. Let's grow the community. We know it's powerful. All right. So excited to talk more about this, Becca. We're going to do Q&A in just a second. But before we do that, we are going to have one more quick promo. McKenna, if you could share the link to the Circle Referral Program and go ahead and play that video, and then we'll be right back.
It was like really didn't have to do. It was surprising to me how it worked because it was like really didn't have to do all that much to get it to work. Specifically with Squarespace, it's nice because basically it already fit my workflow. I was kind of expecting something to go wrong because it seemed too simple, but it just worked. It's not my whole income, but it does help me think about Squarespace first because that's a pretty good incentive for me. Constantly starting new projects. I mean, that's the way to do it, is continually getting new clients and starting new websites.
I love that ad. Employees can't sign up for the referral pay benefit, nor do I build websites, but I find it inspiring. Okay, great. Yeah, because if you haven't already, go ahead and throw the link so people can register for the Circle referral payment benefit if they haven't already. And I'll also just say, common misconception, there is a threshold. It's for qualifying subscriptions. Don't register once you've already built those 4 sites, because you got to get them in your account after you've already registered. So register today if you're not registered, and then all your sites going forward will count. So go ahead and do that. If you have more questions, we got a lot of help guides on that. So, or you can post them in the forum. All right. So before we get to the Q&A, it's time for what Sam likes to call our long distance recommendations. Just a few things that we're taking away from this conversation with Becca. Go ahead and throw in the chat what your biggest takeaway from our conversation with Becca is, then go and share it on LinkedIn. I think my biggest takeaway was, just that consistency, but also I loved what you said about diversifying your revenue streams. And I love that like you're meeting a need with each of those, right? You're hearing what your community said, and you're like, oh, I can meet that need. And that is like, I feel like entrepreneurship 101 is like meet a real need, solve a real problem. And like, that is all you've done in doing that. And it's made you money. And I love that. Girl boss to girl boss. All right. So go ahead and throw in the chat what your biggest takeaway is. And we're going to go ahead and move into questions. So if you haven't already, if you're putting a question in the chat, I will not see it. But if you put a question in the Q&A box, I will ask it. So pop it in the Q&A box and we'll get into it. All right, Becca, let's get into it. Question from Dave. Becca, do you have anyone else on your team or do you do everything yourself?
I do have someone on my team. I hired her about a year and a half ago, and she's incredible. Her name is Brittany Gardner, and she's my VA. And I've trained her on Squarespace, creating the blog posts that I do every week. And she also helps me manage basically my everything. She helps keep track of all of my content in a Notion doc. And she's been helping me manage all of those YouTube responses. So that's been really helpful. We have this great system where I have a response bank of just general things like if someone wants to install it on a single page, here's this tutorial. If someone wants to isolate one selector, here's this tutorial. And also the any comments that need a little bit more of a response than that, she'll flag and put into a document for me so I don't have to hop into YouTube and be crazy overwhelmed. So it's been a game changer. And I absolutely love working with Brittany. She's the best. But it did take me about 2.5 years to hire her.
Well, fair enough, but shout out to Brittany. Love that for you and for her. Question from Sharon. I've thought about creating a workshop and I'm curious what technologies you use for your content. I think she means like to run those.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I like to use a combination of either Canva or Adobe Express to create the presentation materials themselves. Obviously, through Squarespace is where I sell the product. I like to sell it as a service. And then I have the digital product replay that I have available once the live workshop is over. And then for presenting the workshop, I like to use Demio. What I like about Demio is that they are an affordable price point, but if I don't do a workshop every month, I can just pause my account and then go back to it later. I don't have to just keep resubscribing to it or pay for it for like an entire year. I can just do it as needed, which I really love.
Nice. We love a helpful payment plan. Question from Katie. How do you keep your content up to date when Squarespace is always adding new features? Parentheses, of course, I'm very happy that they do. Thank you, Katie.
Yep, same. It definitely is a struggle. Often with my YouTube videos, I'll have to hop in there and put a little disclaimer at the very top of it. I like to do a pinned comment and then updating the description as well. But some of them do become so outdated that they need to be replaced. So that's why I've started posting videos on Thursdays as well as Tuesdays. So now my new videos come out on Thursday if there's a feature update or a change that needs to be updated, while my CSS tutorials are still every single Tuesday. But great question, because that seems to be happening more and more these days.
Love that. Chad says, Becca, are you using Squarespace member areas for your courses?
Yes, I am. Absolutely. Ironically enough, I have the same member area that I had to duplicate because when member areas first came out, we didn't have the option to have multiple pricing plans. So I actually have two versions of the exact same course. Thank goodness you can duplicate a page, right? But yes, I use Squarespace for those.
Nice. And if you didn't watch the H1, this is Squarespace video. We have some exciting things coming courses wise. So now really feels like the time to be psyched and getting ready to build a course on Squarespace. I'll just say that. I can't say anymore, but just stick around.
Two enthusiastic thumbs up, Sarah.
That's 4 altogether. All right. Christopher says, as both a business owner and designer, what do you feel separates Squarespace from the rest of the no-code platforms out there?
Ooh, good question. I think what really separates Squarespace is how incredibly easy they make it to create a really good looking website. Like anyone without experience can easily update a template and have a website that looks amazing, swap out the images and text, and you're good to go. But what I love about it as a website developer is it takes care of that aspect so then I can focus on being incredibly creative, using custom code to make all kinds of changes, using some of the advanced features that someone who's new to Squarespace might not be aware of. Once you're familiar and comfortable in Squarespace, there are so many things that you can do that you don't need to buy 1,800 other plugins to make it work. Like it's pretty awesome that it's all right there in one system. And I also like the fact that for some of the smaller clients that I used to work with, it could easily integrate with analytics and campaigns. They didn't need to go out and find a way to sync a different email service provider, email management program in there. We could do all the billing in one spot. And I absolutely loved that for my clients.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'll just piggyback off of that. There was a question from Megan who says, Becca, what is your sense of selling on Squarespace versus Shopify? And clearly you've chosen to sell on Squarespace. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, I've definitely chosen to sell on Squarespace. I have helped people with Shopify sites in the past. And I think for someone with like a large amount of inventory or moving a lot of stuff, I'm not sure what would be a better platform because I've never had a business like that. But for me, focusing on digital goods and having gated content, Squarespace is perfect for that. I also absolutely love the feature that with the digital PDF that I send out, if someone like loses a link to it or something and emails me, all I have to do is click refresh digital goods and Squarespace just sends them an email and I don't have to do anything. And I absolutely love that feature.
Ah, okay, I'll tell the PM. That's so nice. Okay, we have two questions from Samuel and Mary that are kind of similar, so I'm just gonna ask them at the same time. Samuel says, "How do you plan your days? It's sometimes hard to do everything." So true. And Mary says, "Becca, what are your top tips for task prioritization?" So, how do you prioritize your tasks? How do you plan your day?
Oh, awesome. Okay. So I definitely do batching of my content. I don't get myself all cleaned up and camera ready every single day, especially with all my outdoor activities, right? I'm usually just slathered up in a bunch of sunscreen. But what I like to do is every single morning, I like to spend at least an hour in my inbox just helping people, those 10 people every day, being like, one of the core principles of my business is being out there to support the community. So I always set aside time to do that first. And then throughout the rest of the day, I like to batch my content where one day I'll work on blog posts, another day I'll work on video descriptions, and one day I'll do all the recording. I should add all the recording, all of the editing, all of the graphic design. That's all me. I do all of that myself with my computer. It's definitely a weird skill set that I did not realize I'd have to develop, but it's something that I do. So I have an entire day of my week that's devoted to editing content. So it takes a lot of work, but batching it like that is much easier for my brain to process than hopping back and forth between different programs all the time.
Mm.
But for prioritizing, this is a big one. And what I've been working on only for the last few months have I really focused on this system. But every single week at the end of the week, what I like to do for the very next week is set aside my top 3 priorities and put them on my calendar. It's
Mm.
not just one thing to have them. I actually have to set aside the time or they will not get done. It gets a little frustrating sometimes to realize like I was the one that was hindering my own productivity there was because I'd have these as a priority, but you look at my calendar and they were nowhere on there. It wasn't reflected in my own schedule as a priority. So I try to focus on 3 things a week and I make sure that they're actually scheduled. Even if it's not with another person, it's actually on my calendar and that helps a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such good advice. And if you didn't see our Circle Live last month, the whole topic was managing your time. And we actually got Circle members a discount code to Cave Day, which is a great tool to go and do like focused work session time. So you can see that on the forum. Maybe McKenna, if able, can drop a link to the member perks page. Question from Dylan. Do you have any tips for moving from 100% client-based work to more productized content-based offerings?
Ooh, good question. I think one of the things to think about when you're making the switch over to content is that it's not going to be overnight. You've got to do a little bit of work for both. You can't just stop one and start another. But again, with that consistency, give yourself a solid schedule. And like I shared in the example earlier, when I first started inside the Square, it was like an experiment. And I said, okay, for the next 12 weeks, 3 months straight, I'm going to do something every single Tuesday. And that was like my go to. So if you set up a schedule like that for yourself, you'll be able to evaluate what kind of reception your audience is giving from that. You'll be able to start establishing yourself as a consistent source of content. Start there before you step away completely from client work.
Nice. Ease your way in.
Yeah.
All right. Question from Kira. Can you speak on how you approach your sales to creation component of your day to day? I'm realizing I will need to sell myself now, and branching out is intimidating to lose creative time.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I've never been very good at the sales part. And I had this weird epiphany after creating my content for about 9 months. I would post all of these tutorial videos. And I never once talked about the CSS cheat sheet, the digital product that I had, like my main product. So at this point, anytime I talk about CSS in a video, I put it at the end of the video as like a little commercial thing that I have that just says, hey, I have a CSS cheat sheet. If you like this, you're going to love that. So you've got to get comfortable and normalize your self promotion. I am in a little mastermind with some other bosses around the world. And one of the things that we were talking about in one of our last meetings was actually adding content about your services or your products to your email signature. Normalize promoting yourself. It's not nearly as intense as you think it is. And it's not really going to turn off any of your clients in a way that you might realize. It's going to get yourself in front of your audience and make sure that people are aware that you are a business. It's a lot more important than you realize. So normalize promoting yourself.
Yes. Okay. Put on my next shirt, or I'll just be like, by acuity scheduling.
There you go.
All right. And last question that we have from Golnar. When you update, we talked about this a little bit, but when you update a video tutorial with a whole new video, do you see any dip in SEO on that video?
Ooh, excellent question, Golnar. And hi, I know we interact all the time, so it's nice to see that you're here. Thanks for supporting Circle Live. But I definitely see a dip in interaction in the video, but it's more detrimental if I don't post the update because of the negative feedback I'll get on the video. I used to have a 100% rating on my channel, and now it's about 94% because some outdated videos would get thumbs down because it wouldn't look like what people wanted it to look like, and they'd be frustrated. As far as the SEO impact on my blog is concerned, that's actually really helpful in the eyes of Google when I update a blog post and have an internal link going to a newer page, or just update the page itself. As long as I resubmit that URL to Google Search Console, Google's like, look at her working on her website. This is so updated. We need to rank it higher. So it actually helps my SEO in the long run.
Wow, I love that. Google's like, I see you. Okay. And there was one last question from Megan here. I just want you to know, Megan, that your question about Becca's transition from clients to content and her thoughts on AI were covered at the beginning. And the recording is going to be sent out like ASAP. So we're running out of time, but I want you to know we did get you answers to those questions. So
Awesome.
go back and rewatch. And yes, and I think McKenna addressed it, but yeah, all the Circle Lives are recorded and shared. So you don't have to miss a single thing. You can watch this as many times as you want. A dream. All right, Becca, if people want to contact you, follow you, get more information about your work, where can they do that? Twitter, Be Real, MySpace, Tumblr.
MySpace, definitely. Oh my gosh. InsideTheSquare.co is my main website. I'm on YouTube all the time, youtube.com/InsideTheSquare. And on Instagram, I've been trying to step up my Instagram presence lately. CSS is very design focused, and I need to start sharing some of my content on there. So if you're an Instagram user, I'm actually at Think Inside the Square on Instagram because someone else stole my business name. So Think Inside the Square.
Okay, hate that for you. But thank you for giving us all that little insider tip. All right, amazing. Becca, you are phenomenal. Your guidance is perfect and we love you.
Participating in all these Circle events, and I am just so honored that I got to be here on Circle Live. So thanks again for thinking of me and inviting me here. And yeah, hopefully I'll see everyone in attendance as well as you hanging out on the forum. We should hang out there more often.
Yes, we should absolutely hang out on the forum more often. Way to end on a plug. Everyone's like, this was just the right amount of promotion for the forum. All right. Well, until the next Circle Live, this is Sarah G reminding you that we all have a choice every single day, whether we look at things in dark mode or in light mode.